Blow spark with a psycho chart, playing dice, go starter. Who are you? Better know yourself. Know your soul, gotta know your wealth. Slow your roll, get a hold, don't melt. And don't you fall when I feel like hell. Well, who am I? Am I me? I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Writing, trying to get myself a lamb color cut for the game. Leave from hanging by a chain, click bang. Feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feel insane. And it's all we feel the flame. 45 to my brain, praying for it, please fail, no glory.
Welcome everyone, FFS5 here with another game casted by the RLS squad, but it's a little bit of a different arrangement this time. I am joined today by Anti. We get to go over Art of War Esports versus Washed.
Oh lord, and here we are, Team Wash sitting at 2-3 versus the 0-5 undisputed bottom placing Art of War Esports, which is one of the most insane things that I did not expect to say this season, because these are some good players with, you know, honestly, some really close games every time, but they just never managed to pull it through the finish line.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to close things out. They've had a little bit of struggle. Obviously, we are seeing a little bit of a different lineup. We've got Min in the mid lane, and we've got Yon playing on the ADC role. We're going to see how they match up against Wednesday and Barbituate. Locked in first is the Zeri. Zeri has taken a couple nerfs on the recent patch, and we do see a Kog'Maw. I understand the enthusiasm. Oh, okay. I'm very looking forward to that. Barbituate has been playing things like the Twitch, so those late game scaling options are not out of place. Kog'Maw for Team Wash.
Yeah, and one of the big things about Kog'Maw is that Kog'Maw is always going to be able to outrange Zeri, despite Zeri being hypermobile. And the fact that Kog's entire damage output is going to be from those point-and-click auto attacks, you can move as fast as you want, Zeri. You're not going to be able to outrun this forever. But either way, the Volibear and the Renata are going to be picked up on the side of Art of War Esports. We know Ariri has been spamming a lot of that Renata. Volibear, as always, an incredibly strong jungle pick right now. And the Zac in response, a little bit strange to me, if you ask me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I would have expected something like a Trundle. But, you know, Zac is not a bad champion. It just doesn't answer the Volibear in the slightest.
Yeah, it's a good way to, you know, generally see with the engage. Obviously, they have the Jan and the Kog'Maw picked up currently. That usually spells to, we want to disengage, let them come to us. We want to have positional advantage. And not that Zac can't play disengage. Obviously, the ulti does allow to get people away from you. It's optional. But kind of not the go-to. But, you know, maybe X is going to be able to get some early game stuff done. We do see Crims pulling at the Volibear. Once again, it has been successful in the early game. Obviously, has not been able to bring the team to a win just yet. And we're going to see PJ Salt locked in with the Mundo in the top lane. We're going to see the counter pick coming in from Slowbro, who Slowbro has been very strong in laning phase, but has had a hard time converting that one out of the lane thus far. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not this Gnar will be the change of pace that he needs. And last pickup from Min looks like it might be a Syndra.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Art of War Esports seem to have a very solid composition here. The Mundo, very standard pick for PJ. We've been seeing a lot of Mundo for PJ, honestly. But the Gnar is something that not only will be lane dominant, but also works really, really well in a team fight. So the big thing is, right, you know, you have the Volibear, run straight in. You have the Gnar, go in, look for an ulti, look to disrupt the backline, while Zeri just gets to hit frontline and move around as much as she wants. Meanwhile, Washed, the execution for their composition seems very dependent on them being ahead, and if they're not ahead, the disengage is definitely doable when you have Janna, the Queen of Disengage, and you have Zac, who can, you know, you can hit R, you can just stand in front of your Kog'Maw, and no one should be able to get to the Cog, but it all depends on how the execution is.
Yeah, and how strong that Kog'Maw actually has to be, because you might have to kill Volibear twice, you might have to kill Gnar twice. You're going to have to break through those two regardless. There's going to be Syndra stuns coming through. It's going to be very challenging for Barbiturates to be in that position, but he's been there a few times already. They found a lot of success with going with those later game scaling ADCs for Barbiturates and finding those later team fights. I like the addition of the Corki to try and soften up those front lines. Obviously, Renata does not provide any sort of consistent shielding or healing to really keep her team sustained through that kind of poke. Obviously, Kog'Maw still has the ability to go for that as well. So it's a good pickup option. Like you say, there's a lot of engage on the side of Art of War Esports. So it'll be interesting to see. This is definitely going to be Art of War going in. It's about how Wash can push them away.
I mean, honestly, I think that the Syndra pick is genuinely so good for Art of War Esports right here, because when you have that kind of a front line and there's no access to the Kog'Maw, Syndra's so good at that, because you just ult a frontliner, it doesn't matter if you kill them, but then you just fire off the E to send stun through the entire team. And we could see Min go for some incredible play, but I don't know. We haven't seen too much from Min. Yeah. We have seen some nice play from Min, but we're just going to have to wait a bit to see if Min's going to step up or not.
Yeah, I also like it as just a way to deal with that Zac. There's going to be a Zac jumping in. There's probably going to be Mundo in front of you. It's a good way to get that CC option. The displacement is really nice for dealing with that Zac-y going to fly in, possibly cause disruption on that Zeri. I think one of the only other things that I really want to look at between these two compositions is between a Zeri and a Syndra. Could be very challenging to actually break through that frontline combination of X and PJ Salt, just due to that Mundo and Zac. They have the ability to get so tanky, probably going to be at least partially sustained up by that Janna, and Zeri has a hard time breaking through tanks. Syndra does not have an easy time getting through tanks. So I think not only does that Kog'Maw and Corki allow this game to scale up for free, but if Art of War Esports cannot break that frontline, they will have a very hard time actually killing that Kog'Maw if they do eventually get to him. So I feel like at the end of the day, Art of War Esports definitely has the easier composition to play. I think that's what you were saying earlier. It's just as far of ease of access for this composition to work, keeping it simple, Art of War has it. But if they let it go too long, it can start to cause some serious problems. Kog'Maw, Corki, Mundo. Think about some late game scaling games. Yeah. Those are all of them.
The thing is, right, Art of War Esports, it seems like they're on a timer, right? Because, Zeri, while she has great wave clear, Syndra, good wave clear and stuff like that, they're not going to ever be able to match Kog's late game damage. But at the same time, you got the Volibear. He's probably going to be going chem tank, moving at 1 billion miles an hour. So if you can hit Q on the Kog, or if you can get a pick with a Syndra stun, the game could be over those, like 50 minutes in or something like that, right? The game, while you are being placed on a timer for how much damage the teams will do in a front to back, Art of War Esports doesn't have to take that fair fight.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down to, initially, we talked about the laning phases. We're expecting them to probably go in the direction of Art of War. It's interesting to note that we do have the Zeri pulled out. Zeri really has not seen too much success, I don't think, outside of the hands of Reset very recently, but very much Jeff God Gamer has had a lot of power on that Zeri, and that's where she's seen a lot of her success. Interesting to see that Art of War is going to go to it with the new ADC.
Also, I mean, I don't think we've seen very much from Yon, but we do know that Ariri on the lounge did say that Yon, their new AD carry, is about 5 times better than their last one. So, who knows? Maybe Ariri will be proved right, maybe Ariri will be proved wrong, but those are definitely strong words to be coming into this with.
Yeah, and you want to have confidence in those new team members when they come through.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, it's difficult. This is a team that has struggled with roster issues previously. It's not the first time that they've seen some swap-ins.
It's always week 2, baby.
It's always week 2. It does always seem to be week 2.
I think last season their top laners computer just blue screen and just stopped working. Like it's just a bunch. Yeah, it's just a bunch of random, completely unfortunate events that keep happening. But this team always comes back, always pulls through, and we're always happy to see them on the Rift. So
we'll have to finally getting through to the game. First place to look, always Rune Summoner Spells. Item pickups, the Cull in the top lane. Picked up for Slowbro now, just being able to neutralize with that range advantage on Gnar. What do you think of that?
Honestly, Cull's totally fine. I don't think that there's any sort of kill threat that PJ should ever have on the Gnar. I will say that Min picking up the Aerie is a little bit strange to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Aerie's bad, but against a team that, okay, so you have the Zac, sure. Zac, you hit them with the stun, then you don't get engaged on. But Mundo's just gonna run at you, and having phase rush to get away from that is definitely helpful. So it's a question of, is that airy poke really going to be the difference maker in the mid lane?
Yeah, you know, it gives you that option. Obviously, airy on Syndra is not too uncommon. So it'll be interesting. I think you really do need to to get that advantage into the Corki, because Corki's going to outscale you. We've all seen what Corki can do. Corki has had a hit to his early game prowess, just being able to delay those packages, make them a little bit tighter on the spawn timers. You need to make sure you're using them right throughout the whole game. Can't have them for first Herald. Can't really have them for first Dragon. Even first 2 Dragons can sometimes be a little bit tight. But it's going to be about how much you can shut down that Corki, how much you can slow him down. And, you know, if you get Yon into a good position to just be able to run over this game nice and early, which is totally possible, is there. You have that movement speed. You have the really solid early game damage coming out from that Triforce and from the Titanic Hydra. Most likely will be the next pickup there. Not a huge number of melee champions this game, so that's what I'm expecting Yon to go for if they get to that point in their build. But there's room for this game to be completely taken over in the mid game, and I think a lot of that has to stem from that mid lane. So I like the airy pickup. Yeah. But, you know, we've had plenty of time to talk about the where this game goes in the future. It's about where it goes right now.
Yeah, and either way, you know, Barbitra going to get a nice little trade off, but not going to be working out too great. I mean, Renata's so potent at level 1, and especially when you're taking that, you know, Spell Thief, you're going to be hitting a little bit harder, getting a little bit more out of every little interaction. And your Janna is sitting on a Relic Shield. She's not going to have that same kind of AP, that same kind of mana regen in order to match.
Now, you have spent a lot of time playing Renata since she gave out one of your, I would say probably your favorite support at the moment. Is that fair?
Of the enchanters, absolutely.
Yeah. So where would you say, what are you looking for to see Oriri do in this early laning phase? Obviously, you're into a scaling composition. Janna likes to just neutralize lanes out. What does Oriri need to do to get Yon into position to take this game at the 20-minute mark? Oh,
honestly, one of the...
Hold on, Hook comes through, the stun coming out. I don't know if they're going to be able to convert that into too much. Obviously, Zeri lacking a little bit early game power now, but the engage does come in on the top side. Slowbro is in. There is Crims there as well. First blood picked up for the Gnar. PJ Salt just disrespecting the potential early gank there from the Volley Baron. We see another 3 camp go in favor.
Yeah, and just like, yeah, I mean, like, just like that, you know, PJ Salt looking a little bit salty on that top side. Went, you know, going into a Cull Gnar, you do not want to be down here because Gnar's only ever going to get stronger and stronger as the lane goes on. Now, in the bot lane, one thing that's interesting to me is Kog'Maw has opted for the lethal tempo. Now, lethal tempo's not bad per se. Oh, wait, hold on. We might be seeing another gank here coming out from Crims, but, you know, with no Mega on the Gnar, there's very little chance of this turning into a successful gank. They can probably get a flash out, but not too much more. As Godix Anime looking for the counter.
There for the counter gank. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything coming through here. Now PJ Salt trying to turn this one around. You do have the level 4 Zac on your advantage right now. Has been able to farm ahead of Crims at the moment. Hasn't picked up enough lane XP to get that level up, but it looks like we're just going to disengage that fight from the side of Wash. I like it just for the sake of getting out of the way. You know, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble there. Obviously, early game brawlers, I think every single jungler would tell you that you want to be Volibear in that situation. So, you know, it's not exactly optimal for Zac, but Zac is going to have access to, you know, just taking the farm advantage right now. Maybe going to try and take it mid lane. Slowbro poked out very hard.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing about Zac is that Zac is so incredibly good at spam ganking these lanes. So the fact that Godix Anime is getting the lead through the farm is very interesting. And PJ getting baited in here. Slowbro honestly doing a great job of... Oh, hold on.
Okay, so now what do you do right now if you're Crims? Are you going to have the advantage here? You're in the minion wave right now. PJ still trying to regen it up. Has that passive online. Yeah, I think PJ's going to be able to get out of there. There's another cleaver coming through. Crims has taken so much damage from the minion wave and unable to find the return kill. Slowbro baiting a little bit too hard and dies to the cleaver.
Yeah, and I was just singing Slowbro's praises, but unfortunately going to be a little bit slow on the uptake there and not going to be dodging away from the cleaver, just going to be bonked right in the head, not even sure what hit him. A null magic mantle for his troubles, but honestly, that went from a ridiculous, like a nearly over lane into, honestly, pretty heavily in PJ Salt's favor after you see full, like, 8, 9, 10 CS in terms of experience, but even just in terms of gold.
Yeah, and was able to be there, get a decent recall timing off. Obviously, the wave was being shoved in. Slowbro having to burn that TP to get back up. PJ Salt obviously doesn't have it available, but doesn't have to burn it anyway. We look down in this bot lane, and it's kind of surprising to see how well Barbitude has been doing. Not just, you know, a player or anything like that, but Zeri, I feel like, should be dominant here. I feel like Renata, the same thing, should be able to bully this lane off, and not only have they been unable to bully, they've been unable to deny anything so far, and that Kog'Maw timer ticking down gradually. You need to try and make plays happen, but there's been so much topside pressure coming out from Crims. It really hasn't availed to too much. It feels like AWE maybe feeling the pressure of this composition that Wash has drafted. They know they're on a timer, and they're desperate to make things work. They started off with that top lane, but it's just rolled over and hasn't turned into too much, and now X might be looking for a gank at the bot lane.
Yeah, and we said earlier that while AWE have a quote-unquote easier to execute comp, oh, hold on.
Yeah, X is on top. Hold on, they have the CC down. Yan has already burned Flash. It's going to be difficult to get out of there. Does probably have the E available. There is the fight or die coming down, but here comes Min, turning it into a 4v3. Barbituate, you have to try and get out of there. That Zac is surely going to go down. X slowly ticking to give the kill over to Yan. And that is a well-turned fight there with a very proactive roam and counter gank coming in through from the likes of Crims and Min. They're able to pick up a kill on that bot side.
Yeah, and one of the things is that you see how Barbituate went forward, actually popped the barrier, probably was looking to heal up Godix Anime, but Johnny, unfortunately, is the one who's holding on to that heal, and the heal goes onto the Kog'Maw, not the Zac.
Yeah, no, unfortunate. Don't necessarily have the range. Didn't end up coming through there. Obviously, that is a kill picked up. We were talking about literally just in the process of going, hey, this bot lane not working out to favor, but you do pick up that stuff for the Zeri now. Does have that Heartbone Axe and the Sheen on board, gives her a lot of power. Opting out of the Berserker Greaves, I think that's probably reasonable. You want to be able to get enough damage. It's not so much on the lane control right now for Zeri. I think that this will kind of go into a rest state.
Yeah, honestly, one of the things that's confusing me is that Renata, while she's incredibly strong in lanes against heavy engaged champions, like, for example, Leona or Nautilus, because, you know, you continually poke them down, and if they do get on top of your AD carry, you hit them with a Q, you shove them away, and say, hey, you know, leave. Just get off of them. Into poke champs like Janna, Renata actually loses a lot of her strength because she's not going to be able to consistently match that kind of poke or that kind of laning presence from those champions because of the long cooldowns on her abilities, and her Q does get blocked by minions. So you'd expect to see either, you know, Zeri might do really well into Kog'Maw, but you'd expect to see, you know, more from Johnny Tsunami in terms of being proactive and getting this lane going. But when you have the Cog sitting on lethal tempo instead of Hail of Blades, you do lose out on a lot of that laning power.
Yeah.
And the trade-off is, you know, late game, you're already playing Cog, right? You know, it's always going to be incredibly terrifying.
Yeah, you got that extra range on top of that extra range on top of breaking that attack speed cap. Gonna be very scary if that Kog'Maw can get there, but, you know, at the moment, Crims is still playing very aggressive towards the spot side, has shifted his focus, so I think very effectively. And Barbituate and Johnny Tsunami actually doing, like, you know, continuing this this equalization in the bot lane, which is exactly what you need. Zeri is a very low damage carry at the moment. Doesn't really have too much damage that she gets to stack up at this point. It is more about the duration and how long she can keep that consistent damage, hitting the target as much as possible. But you're not going to be able to break through. You don't have large enough numbers to really start popping anything, and, you know, breaking through tanks is going to be very challenging. And so it kind of needs to get this area off the ground as soon as possible. Obviously, we're only at the level 6. We're just rolling into about the 10-minute mark at the moment. This area does have a small lead, but I feel like AWE needs to start using it to try and get things on the map. And at the moment, losing out on that Rift Herald, or did they? Yeah, no, sorry, lost out on it. Yeah.
Wash are going to be picking up that Rift Herald with the continual top lane pressure coming out from PJ. And honestly, this looked so good for AWE at the beginning, but oh lord, one thing that looks like a small trade for Slowbro looks to be a trade of his entire life. As you're going to be going down once again. So many plays are going to be going on to PJ, and Gnar, who was supposed to have an incredible amount of lane priority, is just getting dumpstered right now.
Yeah, there's that charge coming through. The plates are picked up on PJ Salt and onto Godix Anime. That is, we were talking about that lane pressure. We talked about that call. Here's a really good measure of it. It's 10 minutes into the game. It's barely halfway done. Slowbro has had a really hard time maintaining lane control right now. Is down 10 CS to the Mundo and hasn't been able to pick up the CS for himself, hasn't really been able to get those trades down. It is 2-1 in terms of the kills. Obviously, there's been a lot of jungler assistance up there, but most of it has favored Crims being up in that top lane. And as a result, Slowbro is just losing this one out specifically to PJ Salt. And, I was commending, I think both of us were really commending Slowbro's ability to lane, but right now, it's not serving up to what he needs to be doing to deal with this Mundo.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting at a 58 CS to 69 at 11 minutes, you're definitely not going to be too happy, despite the fact that, you might have died twice, but that's still a lot of CS that you'd expect to see a player of Slowbro's caliber being able to pick up a little bit more CS when you do have those teleports available. But
the Cull.
Yeah, I mean, the Cull is, if you're going Cull, you really don't have to be going for these trades. As long as the laning phase continues, you're honestly chilling. It's like there's a lot of very aggressive trades being taken by Slowbro, which, could definitely work in your favor.
Okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought there was some room there for Johnny Tsunami to get caught out. Obviously, we are starting to do that Dragon Dance in the bot lane. The recall is coming in from Wednesday is going to be able to pick up that first package of the game. Does have that teleport available, so I'm expecting to see, as long as it has been picked up, that we're going to see Wash try to contest this one. Whether or not AWE is going to try and answer, I think, is really more in the question. Crims. Just seeing X now, there's the big engage. It does have the level deficit, though, right now, and the E is burned. X is unable to get out, does burn that flash, but that's the ult cooldown already burned from Crims, and now Wednesday sitting as AWE is right in that perfect choke for Corki to try and take the fight. There are both teleports available currently for those top laners as the harass starts to come through from this Corki. Has pretty much all of that ammunition online, does have the Hex Drinker as tentatively Wash makes their way into the river there through the choke. There's no Volibear ultimate available, no flash available for God X Anime, so we start to set up, and it looks like AWE is just going to back off and give it.
Yeah, and on the side of AWE, Slowbro just dropped out of Megaform, so there's no way that you're going to get that Gnar TP into the middle of the enemy team with that 5-man Gnar ulti. But Crims burning that ultimate very early on is so unfortunate for AWE here. And then if you look at Crims' build, Crims is going Divine Sunderer. All you needed this volley to do was run straight at the Kog'Maw, and this is looking worse and worse as this is going on. Herbituate going to get out of jail for free with the Janna ulti, as PJ going to be engaged on, but not going to be taking too much damage for it. Like, they're devoting so many resources across the map, but it just doesn't seem like there's too much that AWE are actually able to get out of their investments.
Yeah, they've been investing all over the place, like you say, and, that Volibear is going to be a little bit more damage heavy. Was talking about kind of maybe a lack of damage. I don't think this is where it needs to be solved from. Like you say, I think that Volibear needs to play Disruption, needs to try and get into that backline as much as possible, or really just cause pressure, force them to kite back, force them to burn things to get him away, and then, you can kind of deal with that frontline option, but we're going to see how the Sunderer works out instead. At the moment right now, the gold lead is sitting a solid 1k in the favor of Wash right now, which has to be concerning for AWE. That has to make you kind of uncomfortable. You have the strong early game comp. What has gone on in the last basically 15 minutes that has led you to this situation?
Oh my lord.
Meantime, Wash, happy to pick up plates in the top side as they just barely roll off. Obviously, a good chunk of this lead, I think, has to be attributed to that Rift Herald, but there is that first tower going over to PJ Salt, and they just extend this first 15 minutes and more gold in the pocket for Wash.
And with PJ, honestly, I think PJ should be very close to finishing up that Mythic. This Mundo is going to be so difficult to deal with. Yes, Zeri can pop ulti and try to run away as much as she wants, but Syndra without Phase Rush is not going to be able to do the same thing. And Volibear can do all he wants to stop Mundo. He's only got one stun, and Mundo passive is going to do just fine at dealing with that. I don't know. There's a lot to be desired from the side of AWE right now.
Room for the engage. Min does sidestep out of the Zac. He's probably just going to get away. Good E just to disrupt anything that Zac wanted to do there. Get the Q available. And yeah, it looks like it's just going to be more neutralization in the mid lane. Continue.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the things that we were saying earlier, right, is that AWE's composition, right, is a little bit on a timer. They still have their ways back into the game. And Min has been quietly farming up a CS lead in this mid lane. Honestly, Min's been doing great in terms of laning and in terms of the roams that we saw earlier. This game seems that it's going to be falling onto the Syndra. And Min, I don't know how strong your back is, but it better be strong enough.
Yeah, definitely have to put those reps in at some point right now. Min filling some big shoes that were Nitsne's, and now taking control of this mid lane in a very similar way, just finding the consistent lead off the CS. Looks like there might be some room to go for the Kog'Maw in the bot lane. Does Barbiturate know that he has to clear this wave if he wants to have a chance in the world at living, as he slowly walks backwards, and now the trap is hatched. Barbiturate gonna have to go down here. I don't think there's any way the Kog'Maw gets destroyed back here. Does decide to burn the flash, but there's no chance you're gonna get out of there. Passive does get popped. It's gonna hit Oriri, but that is 3 people committed in the bot lane for an important kill picked up on the Kog'Maw. I think they could grab the tower too.
Yes, a very, very important kill onto Barbiturate means that AWE do get that moment of respite. They're going to be able to even up the gold lead here, but at the same time, Wash being proactive, seeing, hey, our Kog'Maw just got dove. We're not going to look to try to save the hopeless Cog. We're going to get the Herald. We're going to look to pop it mid, maybe make Slowbro's day even a little bit worse.
But he finds that, Zach.
Either way, you know, Wednesday honestly shouldn't be too sad about that in Barbiturate. While you're missing out on some sums, your mid laner is not going to be missing out on this kill, or will they actually going to let Slowbro slip right through their hands? But a large amount of damage on the mid tower is definitely helpful to Wash here.
Actually, huge play from Slowbro to get out of that. That was actually, that was so important. They burnt so much to try and chase him down. That flash down on that Corki for the next 5 minutes now. And Slowbro gets out of that with his life, has to burn his own flash in a trade there. But there's no mid turret taken there from Wash. That is actually a very good play from Slowbro to stay alive. The overcommitment. They did not have the wards. Krim splashes over the wall and cannot even find the Bumblebee.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about wanting to pull the trigger, but at least someone on AWE is going to have, you know, the gumption to do that when we get to the later stages of the game. Maybe a little bit early, but at the very least, you know, we know that AWE is looking for those picks. They understand what they need to do in order to get back into this. This game's not looking helpless just yet.
Yeah, we do have 8 seconds on the Dragon coming up. It looks like Wednesday's going to be looking for that recall and that teleport as the Dragon has spawned. And AWE really already in position to try and contest this, as they might try and get Barbiturate into that pit. I feel like this recall is coming through way too late from Wednesday, and won't be able to pick up the package in time to contest this Dragon at all, as it goes down just as the recall comes through. Hasn't even grabbed the package yet. AWE steal a Dragon from underneath Wash's nose.
Yeah, and the biggest question is, what are Wash going to do as a response? Right, we do have that package available. There is not too much to fight over, but Wash are looking.
Yeah, there's definitely room in this mid lane right now. That turret is close to cracking, and looks like AWE doesn't want to let it go down, as there's 5 people committed to this center lane from both teams. And I don't know. There's Corki package online. Everyone has just about everything. I feel like this one's asking for a fight, but the disengage from Wash just deciding, hey, we'll let you guys defend that. We'll take our side waves, and I think that's actually probably the right play from Wash. If they can get that Kog'Maw or that Corki up into that top lane, is very, very good. Like just placement on the lanes, they're gonna grab just about everything that they could be missing. It doesn't hurt too bad. I think you drew a lot of people mid lane there from AWE just because of that package, and as a result, it's going to be gold positive in the long run there for Wash.
Yeah, and Patch is going to be going down in the mid lane. Godix Anime going to continue to take these blue buffs. Honestly, Wednesday's sitting fine on that Manamune. Should not be too pressed for mana. But, you know, this Corki is slowly scaling up as Barbiturate. Oh, this could be big.
Barbiturate is totally caught. It's going to go down almost instantly. Yon picking up another kill. The double picked up as well. Johnny Tsunami quick to fall afterwards. And that is 4 kills now on this Zeri. 163 CS at the 19-minute mark, and we were talking about her getting big around the 20-minute mark, and here it is. Yon ready to take this one.
Yeah, and I was saying that, you know, the onus would fall onto Min for making the plays, but honestly, AWE seemed to have a completely different idea in mind. They said, hey, you know what? We have Yon on the team, new player, new blood, we gotta put our faith in them, try to make sure that we can get them as fed as possible, to do as much damage as possible, and Zeri's in such a good position.
No kidding.
Going into this mid game.
Yeah, and that's, again, just Barbiturate getting caught out without the wards, not being able to track where Krim's is. First the dive, then the follow-up. It's just trying to walk through River there, and we see 3 people set up in this top side still from AWE. No answer to come through yet from X. It looks like he might be trying to contest the mid lane. They're rotating up, but it is just too late. Top tower grab there for free again, plus a pair of kills. AWE, this mid game is looking much, much more decisive and a lot better for them.
Yeah, and while, PJ has been continually getting, ahead in terms of like the laning, there's a question. There's a little bit to be desired in terms of how much this Mundo is going to be doing when it comes to the team fights, because PJ has kind of just been standing around looking for those towers in the lanes, right? And while Slowbro is not necessarily ahead, but Slowbro is able to answer right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Might be people coming to the bot lane. No, it's just going to be a full reset. PJ Salt does pick up another turret for himself once again. The only outer tower yet to be cracked is in that mid lane for both teams. And I feel like Slowbro might be overestimating the Gnar here, having to burn the hop to get out of there. And the mid lane turret is picked up. That is more standing gold into Wash's pocket. This game has been neck and neck for almost 20 minutes now.
Yeah, you would think that it would be so incredibly ahead in one of the team's favors, and then you look at the scoreboard, you say, oh, it's 5-2. It's got to be in favor of AWE. And then you look at the tower count, it's like, oh, well, it's 3-2. It's got to be in favor of Wash. And I don't know, it's so... Ooh. Oh, wait, hold on. Looking to sneak this.
I love this play. They've all gone around the Scuttle Crab, I believe, and it might be in there just trying to pull this Baron. There's no reaction from AWE. This is a good way to shake up that scoreboard anti. 5,000 HP left on the Baron. They have PJ Salt still pushing that bot lane. Look at the hesitance from Yan. He's wondering where he's going to get ganked from. He's not going to get touched at all. Baron Nashor snuck out on another objective sneak, but this one, it is the big worm.
That was one of the most beautiful Baron sneaks I've ever seen in FOF, able to use the blast gun and get right over the side, and that Scuttle Crab doesn't see anyone, caught sleeping on the job, and Wash gonna be taking that to the bank.
Yeah, Scuttle Crab is a liar. We've got 45 seconds on the Dragon right now. And we know it's so hard to get these neutral objectives if you don't have the wave priority. I feel like you're about to lose it right now if you're AWE. There's no package available right now for Wednesday. The teleport is already burnt. I'm guessing it won't be up in time. But how do you get lane priority when there's 5 Barons stacked up on the side of Wash? I feel like it's going to be so easy for them to just push this one out. We're going to be going to 2 Dragons apiece unless there's a big steal from AWE. And it's whether or not they're going to be looking for that Scout of the Week, barely missing the Kog'Maw. That would be a good window to open up onto Wash.
Yeah, and Barbiturates, honestly, great fancy feat over there, going to be able to dodge away from the stun. But one of the big things about Wash is that they haven't quite hit their big item breakpoints. Yes, Wednesday has hit the Muramana, but is not quite yet there when it comes to the Luden's Echo. On the other side, Min has finished the Luden's Echo. PJ does not have the
Wednesday
full...
doesn't have TP.
Oh, hold on. Are they just going to be giving this up?
Yeah, Wednesday doesn't have TP. Okay, hold on. So there's some room for this to turn into a push with Baron. There's only 2 people being committed to this Dragon right now. Good option from Wash there. They really don't need the additional power. They're going to be going on to Soul Point past that Dragon, but it looks like they're going to try and use this Baron pressure on the side of Wash to get these inner turrets under fire, under siege, and under pressure right now. As Slowbro looking for that initial engage onto PJ Salt, who probably has to get away. There's no wave shoved into the top side, and looks like PJ Salt's going to have to walk away. Barbiturate's going to have to walk away. An odd play from Wash to drop that Dragon and find just about nothing, as now there's pressure on the top side, but I don't think they can finish off that turret. Min is there to defend, and I feel like Wash just kind of let their own opportunity slip through their fingers there.
Yeah, and this Baron's kind of going to waste. Yes, you do get a ton of gold from taking the Baron itself, but they honestly, while the Blast Cone vision play was so inspired, we haven't really been seeing much in terms of the macro play coming out from Wash here. It's pretty much just been, hey, we'll put PJ in a side lane. Slowbro can't really match. He can, clear out the waves, but not much more. And then the rest of the team doesn't seem to have an idea of where they want to be, what they want to do. Right? You have Baron. Why not just 1-4?
Yeah, try and get something done. Obviously, they have PJ Salt in that bot lane. They would have had the mid priority there. They were having such a hard time with the Kog'Maw trying to clear out those waves into the Syndra Zeri combo. And I was talking about second items for Zeri. So Black Cleaver is going to be the option. I was talking about the trouble maybe shredding those tanks out. I don't hate it, honestly. It's going to be a good way to break through that Mundo, break through that. Zach is hold on, maybe Wash looking to try and set something up in the bot lane. There hasn't been a reaction yet. It's AWE looking to pressure those other 2 lanes as this one goes very deep for Wash. And they're going to pick up the inner turret right there. No answer yet from AWE. No, they haven't picked up the turret yet. Here comes the engage from Slowbro. Barbiturates having to flash away. Here comes Wednesday over the side. Now they're turning back on the Gnar, who's gone very low. There's room for Zach to engage. Nothing comes through, and that turret is yet to be picked up. I think this might end up just being traded by Min, who does have that teleport available. X is looking for the engage. The Gnar goes mini. There's the tower picked up. It looks like Min is going to try and answer in the top lane. PJ does have the TP available. I don't know if we'll see it come out. That's quite a large wave. I think they will be to take that. Do you want the 4v5, though? Channeling from Zac onto Yanya, and does pick up the E. The knock-up comes through. There's the fight or die right now into Yanya, who's desperately trying to do both and avoid the death. Trying to kite back as much as possible. There's such low health bars
and
right now.
And the TP from Min?
TPing into the backline. Mega Gnar almost online. Doesn't end up coming through, but Min splits the fight. And look at Yan tearing through with that Black Cleaver. Still keeping himself alive. It's very, very high on that movement speed stack now as Barbiturates trying to get away from Crims. Will fall down, and PJ Salt is the only member of Wash who saw that Zeri for most of that fight, and he's able to keep himself alive. Yan putting his team on his back.
Oh my lord, and honestly, with the TP from Min, it could have been terrifying, but Scatter the Weak, honestly, Wash gonna be scattering before the scatter comes through, and not a single one of them does get nabbed by the stun. Unleash Power, though, going to finally take down Barbiturate, and what looked like such a great engage from Wash ended up being so split, as you have PJ and Godix Anime straight in the back line. Meanwhile, Wednesday and Barbiturate are trying, aiming to kill Crims, and it's just so difficult to break through this front line.
Yeah, you're talking about item break points, and I think we're finally starting to hit them right now from Wash, and, it's scary to see how even that fight went. Obviously, it was a very late TP from Min, very focused on getting that top turret shoved in before that fight came through. It was a great engage from Godix Anime to find the way onto that backline, but they just couldn't kill Yan. As this game goes later, as Corki starts rolling into the third item, as Kog'Maw starts rolling into that third item, is Zeri going to have the room to be able to take those fights? Probably not. It's probably going to have to be a lot cleaner from the side of AWE, but they do walk away with what turns out to be a relatively even fight. Obviously, the gold doesn't go necessarily where Wash wants it to, but they're still holding on to that outer turret, excuse me. So they do have the standing gold advantage, I would say right now. Wash is still holding on very nicely, and it's really important that AWE starts to break these turrets down right now as we're rolling into a timer for second Baron and Soul Point.
Yeah, and Soul Point, honestly, one of the things that, if you ever watch LCK and you see teams like T1, there's a lot of the time where you'll see teams like T1 opts to go for more plays around the map rather than going for Soul if it is a Cloud Soul. And honestly, I don't feel like giving Cloud Soul to AWE really amounts for too much outside of the initial burst of speed or Zeri here. But the Baron, on the other hand, would do a lot, as the Baron start is going to prompt the TP from PJ.
Yeah, I feel like you have to go back to it right now if you're Wash. You have to try and force a fight here. You've got that Corki package online. This is the strongest your team will be for the next 5 minutes. And no, they're turning their focus over to the Dragon. Only a second Dragon available here. AWE splits them and is going towards that Baron. This is a very difficult place to be in right now if you're Wash. You cannot pick the wrong option or you can just lose the game. Soul is so powerful. If it's on that Zeri, if it's on the Gnar, and here comes the engage. X is the only one taking the focus right now. PJ Salt is on the side. There's the engage onto Min.
Onto Min.
Solo. The package is going to take him out. It is a 1-for-1 so far. Johnny Tsunami taking solo. Barbiturate's having such a hard time trying to free fires. Yanyan's on the side. PJ Salt tanking so effectively, and those rockets start to lay down the hurt. Wednesday taking Slowbro very low. So far, it is only going to be a 1-for-1. Yan and AWE running for the hills and his low health bars across the board.
Oh my lord, you are kidding. I cannot believe that ended as a 1-to-1. It was looking so good for AWE in the middle, as Barbiturate was stuck in the middle of the entirety of AWE. But an unfortunate ulti coming out from Slowbro means that Barbiturate actually ends up being able to free fire towards the latter half of that fight, and the Nard goes super low, has to leave, and what could have been a game-winning fight turns into an even trade on both sides. Like, sure, you do get the mid tower, and sure, you do get the dragon. Honestly, if you're on the side of AWE, you might be kicking yourself in the butt a little bit.
Oh, here we go again. The recall coming through right now from Wednesday. Just have that TP available, but are they going to know? Wednesday canceling it is going to walk towards this Baron pit. I feel like they have a very good idea of what could be going on right now. The controller in the back of the pit tells them everything they need to know. Min, very aggressively positioned on the side right there. Does he know that he's on vision, though? 5,000 HP on this Baron. It's go time right now. Wash trying to find a way in as the Baron is completely peeled off. Here comes PJ Sultan to the front. Crims is taken so low that could be smite disabled. And there's Godx Anime trying to dive on the back. Yon keeping himself alive. Crims is so low. Oriri, the first to fall. And now it looks like Wash is going to try and make their way back to Baron. Yon trying to keep that Zeri ultimate online. The longer that goes for, the harder this is going to be to win. Looking for the engage on the back. There is Godx Anime. Burns the flash out of Min Min. There's the regen coming through from the Janna. This fight refuses to end, and that only favors Yon as that Zeri ultimate continues to tick. Slowbro starting to get very close towards that evolve. It's going to be a 1-for-0. These teams are playing so risk adverse, and it's giving us these very, very tense fights.
Yeah, it's once again a 1-for-1, and honestly, Oriri going down there was so incredibly strong because that was seconds, if not, milliseconds away from a Renata ultimate, just plowing straight through that choke point. And we saw in that last fight where Renata ulti ended up hitting Barbiturate, and Johnny Tsunami immediately takes like 80% of their health. When you're playing around objectives like the Baron, like the Dragon, Renata Ultimate goes from what some people might consider one of the worst ultimates in the game into what turns into a huge amount of not only area denial, but potential damage when you have this many auto attackers.
Yeah, it can be really, really scary to try and deal with that Renata ultimate. Obviously, it's a slow-moving projectile, but if there's CC on top of you, doesn't matter how slow it's coming. There's such a good layer available from Slowbro to Crims to Min to keep people in place. And if that Kog'Maw gets hit by the Berserk, you might not even want to kill him for a second. Just let him take down his own teammates' health bars. Give yourself that opportunity. He does so much damage. Kog'Maw, as you run into the 3rd and 4th item, can do enough damage to fuel an entire team. There's a Corki on top of that. There is so much devastation available right now for Wash. They are getting very close to these item breakpoints we've been talking about for a long time. But Bichuit clearly trying to put some gold in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean,
it's getting scary.
Speaking of 3rd or 4th item, we've actually seen Barbiturate sit on this exact item. Item build path
hold on. Johnny Tsunami getting bursted down very low. The tick is coming through from the Scorch, the ultimate. Getting popped at the very last second there to keep Johnny Tsunami alive. That is 2 ultimates that won't be available as both these teams start to walk their way back to Baron. PJ Salt, bit of an odd place there. There's the W burnt out of Oriri already. PJ Salt is very disconnected from his team. Does have the ultimate, so he will be able to stall. Barbiturate, the only one there to back up his Mundo. And Crims gonna just beat that Mundo away. It's going to be another disengage. These teams are playing on a thread.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you're playing on a knife's edge, Mundo's still ever going to just go wherever he pleases. And it's looked so terrifying for the shortest moment, and then you remember, oh, PJ's Mundo. He's sitting on a frozen heart. Okay, hold on. He's sitting
like
on a frozen
70
heart.
CS lead, almost.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just kind of got completely caught off guard. I did not expect to see a Frozen Heart on the Manaless Mundo. Although Frozen Heart is incredibly high value, I would have anticipated seeing something more like a Randuin's Omen, right? Something that can help slow down the Zeri auto attack speed, and damage and movement speed.
Ooh,
but
Barbiturate.
Frozen Heart is going to be the answer here. Barbiturate now finally going to be sitting on a Mythic with that. Oh, hold on. PJ Salt going in for so much damage. Dear Lord.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying. Yeah, like you say, the shield bow is finally going to be picked up for Barbiturate. It's going to be a good option to try and keep that Kog'Maw nice, safe, and healthy as we do roll into another 30-second marker on an objective. This time, these teams looking towards this dragon. It's very high value for both teams. One to take away, one to finish that soul, and finally get this Cloud Soul rolling on the side of AWE right now as PJ Salt has all of that top prio in favor right now. These lanes, these side lanes are currently favoring Wash's ability to get into pit. Playing on the very edges, but do they know where the vision coverage is? The package is available. This is going to... there's so many fights that I want to call game deciding, but these teams have been doing a really good job of making sure that they don't lose too much. It's LCK reminiscent, completely honestly. You're not losing all too much at the end of these fights, obviously. This isn't LCK by any means, but I love the mentality shift from these teams. We see a lot of people just go in for that 1v4, as now X has decided to start the Dragon. They're dodging out on the Vision. It looks like maybe they're just setting up for it. They have no idea that it's already been started. This is once again a beautiful sneak, and again, Wash able to find an objective right under AWE Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things about that is unfortunately Slowbro actually lost the Gnar Mega directly before the Dragon started. So it went from something that could have been easily contested to something that was so heavily in Wash's favor if they so desire. Godix Anime
does get popped. Here comes the engage onto Wednesday, who is stunned up there. So Berserk coming through. They're all going to flash out of it. Quickly, Godix Anime does run towards his team. They're trying to get onto Yon Yon. That Zac is taking slow. The regen, though, from the Monsoon, keeping the Zac alive. Yon Yon going so low from the Corki rocket, taking him so low. Crims is low, Yon Yon is low, and again, we don't lose a single face. Everyone's still left remaining, but there is Baron on the table, and it looks like Wash is going to be the ones to rotate there. Yon Yon and Crims taken so low, and I feel like there's room for Wash to just take this one and maybe run with it.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the biggest things here is that God X Anime, when Johnny Tsunami popped that Monsoon, I swear that unleashed power did absolutely nothing, and this Zac still doesn't have the Spirit Visage completed.
Yeah,
like, oh my lord.
Chemtech Putrefier is the only finished healing reduction on the side of AWE into Mundo, Kog'Maw with Shield Bow, and Ajana. Now, the only read now, generally, if you talk to me outside of this, any situation, I'm pretty sure if you talk to Anti, pretty much anyone in RLS, we would vouch for Chemtech Putrefier being the only, option on your team for healing reduction. Does Renata really have the ability to use it that well? Obviously, the E does allow you to shield and get it down, but that won't leave it there for all that long. Do you think that maybe there needs to be more sources on the side of AW? Hold on, I don't even know if we'll get the chance to see that. Godix Anime pushed the opposite direction there of the Scat of the Week, but that is not going to be enough. There's the Berserk coming through. Kog'Maw chunking down his backline carries. Is that going to be enough for AWE to finally turn this in their favor?
No, it's not.
Taken very low. The Monsoon keeping his team alive. Zac jumps in the background. The passive is popped. Finally, our first death for the last 15 minutes does finally come through. And another one on the other side. Yon Yon goes godlike. Is now AWE trying to push back through this fight. Mundo finally starting to go low. Yon Yon taking that free fire from Barbiturate. Doesn't go down. The health bars once again remain, but it looks like Yon Yon's going to want to keep chasing. Zeri can do this. Can AWE find a window as Yon Yon taking slow? The Siege Minion doesn't quite take the kill. W still online there for Oriri, keeping his carries alive. Now they chase back onto Oriri, who's taking so low. Mundo, PJ Salt finding that kill, and Slowbro trying to make it away. Min over the side, a big scatter. Can they find the kill on the Wednesday? No. And it looks like, once again, Wash has weathered the storm, and they're going to be going for this mid inhib.
Oh my lord, Min! What in the world? These Scatter of the Weeks are so good, but the immediate big one going to take Min down for an ambitious play. Like, oh lord, both mid laners. Yeah, dear lord, like both of these mid laners are continually looking for those plays. Both these junglers looked for them, found them, and died for it. But like, dear lord, we were saying earlier, playing on a nice edge. This knife is like, this is like a 1,000-degree knife at this point, because I cannot tell what is going to happen, but you could cut the tension in the air.
Oh my, no kidding. It has been so tense back and forth. We have not seen a proper ace come through. Great defensive play, admittedly, from both these teams. How many other games do you see go like this? Even between, teams of any quality. It doesn't matter where it is. We're looking at AW. He is at the bottom of the table. I think, I want to say Wash is tied for 5th right now, maybe 6th.
Yeah, I mean, 5th? This is like, what?
These two teams. Yeah, these two teams have not been given all that much time to develop, all that much time to play against these other teams, and look at how well done these team fights are as we immediately see Godix Anime try to go back in. They finally find the Zeri, taking very low HP. The W is there, though Wednesday able to burst down and finally kill off that Bully Bear once again. Min is stuck in the middle of the enemy team and will go down to follow up. Slowbro on the side. Can you hold this? Yon Yon has to make it back to base here. There is no way that you can hold with this Zeri having the amount of HP that it currently does, and X is looking to stop it. Unable to do so. Is the minion wave there? Not quite yet. The Siege Minion, the only member standing there, as it looks like Wash is going to take the safe approach once again and go into that top inhib. Yon Yon able to get that HP back online. There's no ultimate available. Is there room to get back on top of that Zeri? That Zeri has been so crucial for taking over this game. Ultravox, she's good, I swear. Oh my god, what an engagement
What
from Slowbro,
huge
it's not
Gnar.
enough.
Oh my lord, and like AWE's keep having so many seemingly humongous plays, like that ridiculous Gnar coming out from Slowbro, the stuns coming out from Min, but unfortunately they're just slightly disjointed and not able to happen at the same time. You're not going to be able to get that wombo, and so many great individual plays, but too little, too late it seems. Oh,
Kogma's not here. Hold on, this is for Soul right now. The package is not available currently. The Dragon is at 4,000, 3,000. Quickly dropping.
Yon.
Huge chunk. Talk about dropping HP bars right there. Wednesday. Soul is picked up for AWE, but are they going to live through this fight? The Kogma has finally arrived. PJ
No
Soul
ult on
tanking
Zeri.
Huge Gnar hits the backline. Staying alive, the Wash not falling, but quickly the Berserk shreds them so low. There's no Monsoon available, but they are going to kite through. Crims is taken so low. They still haven't hit Yon. Wednesday trying to do so much over the wall, but they can't kill the Zeri. And AWE takes their first fight in a 40-minute game, but they have to play defense.
Oh my god, and let's break this down because, dear lord, it happened so not even fast. It just happened every which where as both teams are completely disjointed here. AWE going to be coming in hot, but the huge big one going to be chunking them down from Wednesday. Slowbro looking to go straight into the backline at the same time as Godix Anime goes into the backline of AWE. The Renata ulti shredding through the backline of Wash, taking them so low as Crims also getting incredibly low, but the crucial stun onto the Cog means that Yon is able to finally free fire.
They can't push the advantage because the minions were in the base. We saw the start of this TP just moments ago as we do see PJ Salt entering the Nexus. He's got very low health at the moment. That demolish was huge. Is he going to be able to take down that second Nexus turret very quickly? Those minions have turned around. PJ Salt will die for this play. Yon
will he?
more gold in the pocket. Actually, though, yeah, no kidding. Mundo does kind of go where he pleases sometimes. Good play there from Yon to get the slow in, and will get that 1,000 gold shut down. The turret barely staying alive. And there it is. The game on a knife's edge continuing. The Barons have been picked up by Wash, but the Soul finally secured for AWE as they do lose that turret. Yana, do you have the wave clear to deal with this? Does have that Titanic finished up. I think there should be the room for it right there. Riri having to drop the W. They're a little bit concerned about his ADC potentially falling down. Yon talking about putting teams on their back. This Zeri has been enormous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Yon has anything to do with the snack, but Yon is absolutely looking like a snack right now, playing great, showing us some sweet plays, sitting at 9-0-4 on this Zeri. And mind you, that last fight that they won, Zeri did not have ultimate running. And we are going to see a pause, but honestly, Escape, how do you feel about these late game fights when that looked really, really great for AWE? Obviously, Wash was incredibly disjointed.
Yeah.
Right? You have some in the back line, some in the front line, and people coming in from like all sides. Meanwhile, AWE's all together. Zeri didn't have ult running for that fight.
Yeah. Oh, that makes such a big difference. Honestly, looking at that fight, AWE plays it so goddamn well. Slowbro, massive Gnar on the backline. Riri hits everybody you could possibly want to with that ulti. But like you say, Yana doesn't have the ult available, but even more importantly, the super minions are hitting the base, and that is the only reason I think if those inhibitors were up and there was minion waves anywhere, AWE can end the game right there. There's no reason why they shouldn't be allowed to just chase right there. Instead, they're sitting with an open Nexus right now. And, even though AWE is playing these fights so well and getting onto that backline, causing disruption for Wednesday and Barbiturate, you're playing into Kog'Maw Corki. It's 41 minutes into the game. How difficult of a situation could you put Yon and Min in to try and carry this one? Slowbro has to play every fight perfectly with this Gnar bar, has to make sure that there is the potential for the team to somehow make it back in through the situation. This is dire for AWE at this moment. They're missing everything you could possibly be missing except this bottom inhib turret.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's room. They're playing well.
There's definitely room, and as we've seen before, that Renata ulti has actually been so ridiculously high value in these fights. Like,
yeah,
you're
trying to convince me, aren't you?
I've been trying to convince you for a long time, but I think if this game's not gonna convince you, I don't know if any game's gonna convince you. Because, dear God, did you see how many times Wednesday
Oh my God, no
has
kidding.
gotten like minuscule pixels away from death? Literally, the Maw Pop was the only thing that kept Wednesday alive in the last fight when Barbiturates turned on to the Corki.
Yeah, you know what? All right, for those of you who don't know, I've been pretty avid in saying that I don't think Renata is impressive, we'll say. I think that she's a completely mid-tier support, completely honestly. I don't think that she serves a lot as she goes into later stages, mostly because I feel like teams should be able to get out of that ultimate just by right-clicking. And right now, AWE is doing a great job of trying to chain their CCs together to make sure that that Kog'Maw is stuck in that wave, which, talking about range at the beginning of this game, with that Kog'Maw W plus the lethal tempo, where does he sit? Like 775 range, just about? I want to say that's the distance. Still, Renata ulti will get to him.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a Gnar to shove him right in there, is definitely an option. One big thing here, right, going into these next fights, Min still doesn't have any magic penetration. Like, you know, you do have the Shadow Flame. Don't get me wrong, that's definitely high value. But there's no Void Staff just yet. Maybe we might be seeing it soon. Min is still sitting on that Corrupting Potion, so maybe we see the Blighting Jewel soon enough. I will say I'm not too big a fan of the Moonstone Renewer from Ariri. I would have much preferred to see a Shirelia's or I don't know, something like, let's say, Locket. But either way, we are going to be getting back into things as Wash, you know, despite taking a rough last fight, still have so much control with all those super minions funneling into the base. And this Baron's gonna go down so fast with a Kog'Maw.
Yeah, Kog'Maw, there's an Ardent Sensor on the Janna, there is extra AD coming through, there is Wednesday on top of all of that. There's no room for AWE to contest this. Now, I want to see Wash take this to bot lane now, immediately. Go pressure that inhibitor, make sure that their respawn timers on these inhibs is as uncomfortable as possible. Don't ever give AWE the comfort of knowing that their base is secure. They do not have any inhib turrets. Looks like Wash is going to try and take this one to the mid lane and end it as simply as possible. The more minions that get into this base, the scarier it becomes. They have that extra damage resistance from the Baron buff, and you need to kill them because they'll just take down your Nexus. That's all Wash needs to do right now. I want to see them rotate into that bot lane. Maybe they're trying to fight while they have the package available, though. Definitely a good option is Crims potentially found Barbiturates there. They don't know that that is warded on the side of Wash as they are walking into the blue team base. All they need to do is kill the Nexus, and all Yon Yon has to do is shred through the devastatingly big front line and the damage threats on the back. Slowbro is setting up the Rage Bar, and they're walking towards the wall. Wednesday back against the wall, quite literally. There's no package available right now. Slowbro goes Mega. The biggest counter of the week. Potential there to take down Wednesday. It doesn't connect. And the super minions walk into base. They are timing on Slowbro's Mega Bar. And that is going to make that Gnar so much harder to use. He's looking for the engage in the last moments here. PJ Saltos getting engaged on. There goes. And Oriri taken solo almost immediately. Crips is in the front line right now. The Janna's attacking Barbiturates, but it's not going to be able to do enough. Slowbro gonna go down. Yon Yon trying to stay alive in the back line. The fight or die is there, but finally they find the shutdown onto Zeri. Yon Yon falling after 43 minutes straight of deathless play, and Wash will take this game.
And Wash continue AWE's impressive losing streak. Honestly, Yon Yon played incredibly well, looking like Uzi at the end of that game. But as just the same way as Uzi's playing in LPL, no matter how good your play is, sometimes it's not going to be able to net the win just yet. But beautiful showing from AWE and great showing from Wash in order to make sure that when both teams are playing that well, dear God, I cannot believe Wash came out on top of that convincingly.
Yeah, we were talking about this game going to 40 minutes. It just becomes devastating. Kog'Maw, Corki, Mundo, Zac is so difficult to deal with the tools that they had available. There just wasn't enough damage on the side of AWE to break through that front line, get to that back line. It was a valiant attempt, to say the least there. Yon Yon, Min, Krim, Slowbro, and Oriri all doing their best to try and hold on, but alas, it is going to be Wash taking the win. We are going to be going to an interview with Wash with just enough time for you guys to check out the FFS magazine in between. We will see you in just a moment.
changing. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. That is constantly changing. Always rearranging. Always rearranging. Constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging. That is constantly changing, always rearranging, always rearranging, always rearranging.
Hello folks, Chris Edgeworth here with our first interview of the day, and I am joined by the victorious PJ Salt of the top lane from Team Washed. Congratulations on the win. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I thought we played a really good game, and obviously very happy with the outcome.
Of course, yeah. It was certainly a decisive showing from you in a little bit of the 4-1 Mundo me smash lane without the hole breaker. But I want to talk to you about, pick your brain about how this game matched up in a second. Let's talk about the preparation first though, and the draft coming into the game. You did end up in a bit of a top lane matchup against the Mundo Nar matchup, and overall interesting matchups on both sides. We see the Zeri come through, and on your side we see the answer is the Kog'Maw. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, about the preparation of the draft coming into this game.
Yeah, I think, especially after last game, we kind of wanted to pick, I think, a composition that scaled better into late game. And I think when we went with the Kog'Maw pick, we kind of knew that we wanted two big frontliners to kind of protect that. We know Janna, Janna was a really good pick, obviously, with Volibear as well. I mean, whenever Volley lands, he can just ult her away. And I really think that our strategy just kind of revolved around frontlining for Kog'Maw, and he did a bunch of damage, and so did Corki. We really just frontline for both of them.
And let's talk a little bit, if you would, about your personal approach to the game. On that note about the draft and the stylistic matchups. You picked the Kog'Maw, and I don't want you to take this as nitpicking at all. It's merely me asking for understanding. So you picked the Frozen Heart on yourself on the Mundo, a Manaless champion, but also the other one that interests me is that you folks had all the scaling and no Gathering Storm, which is something I noticed in the middle of the game. Just free gold value of stats left on the table. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on these?
Well, we kind of just take after our team name, really. I mean, we're all washed up players. We don't really know what the hell we're doing until we get into draft, if I'm being honest. So, the Frozen Heart, for me, I know I wanted to build more armor, and because I really felt like Zeri was the only reason why I was taking any damage that game. And I just kind of really wanted to slow up the team because I knew I was going to be in the middle of everyone. Anything to really stop them from getting to Kog'Maw or Corki, to me, I mean, I felt like that was a good move. But hey, I mean, I'm washed up, I'm trash, so we won. So
yeah,
I guess it worked out.
Dub, yeah, of course. And let's talk about this game and the actual plays that took place in it. It was a very back and forth game. One thing that was decisive move towards your folks that ended up pulling it back in your favor was this very sneaky Baron. I'm not sure if these folks have the mini map enabled in some of these plays. It'd be interesting to get a pro view to see if that is on their screen, because it seems like they're overlooking certain things happening on the map. That's a lot that you folks were able to take clear advantage of.
Yeah, I think if I go back and watch it, I think they might have had Scuttle. So I felt like they knew that we were hovering it. Maybe they didn't know we were doing it. But I know I was pushing bot lane at that time, and I felt like I was creating a lot of pressure down bot. And then once we saw Renata come as well with Gnar down there, somebody made the call. I don't remember who it was, but it was a great call. And obviously, it was just a free Baron, and I felt like that was a really big turning point for us.
Yeah, and let's talk about that as an overall theme in this game. It was a very close back and forth game. Not often that we see a 7 drag. Well, it's unfortunately more common than I'd like to say. It's not super common, but the 7 dragon games where these crop up in season 12. What are your thoughts on this back and forth game? The tempo it had, but what do you think you folks can take away from this as we look forward to the rest of the season?
I mean, I feel like we kind of decided back and forth on what we were going to prioritize, whether it was towers or dragons, and I think we got really fortunate that it was a dragon soul, or a wind dragon soul. So we knew we could give a couple dragons or even soul potentially just because it's wind. And to be honest, I mean, everything's really kind of back and forth in this league. I feel like the teams are really close, and obviously there's a couple of outshiners, but I mean, generally, I feel like all of these games are generally close, and I mean, it's very interesting to play in because things can go one way or the other. I feel like one big play can really turn the tides of the game.
Yeah, of course. Well, PJ Salt, thank you so much for this interview. Congratulations. Before we step away, though, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us on the desk?
Yeah, shout out to our coach, Brian. He's probably not even watching, but hey, he's the one that keeps this team together.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, glad to hear that. And folks, we're going to take a short break, but we will be back with the second game of the night. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon. All right.